Hi everyone, Julie here. So today I want to make a video about learning languages as you travel because I've met a lot of people here in Mexico who speak little to no Spanish and who would like to learn or improve their Spanish, but they don't really know how to get started, especially when they're complete beginners. They kind of, like a lot of people told me, I do Duolingo like 20 minutes every day and I still can't speak to people. And so I want to give you, like, share with you my experience and my advice because I've done that in many languages, two of which I kind of took to the next stage by studying a bit longer and like practicing even outside of the country and really, well, studying. But the other, I don't know, three or four languages that I learned that way, I kind of just stayed at the survival level because that was my goal basically, to be able to interact with people in the country, and that was it. But it was very fast. It didn't take me months. Like within a week, I was able to have these daily interactions with people, and it was cool. And so the way that I do it, and I recommend you do, is get yourself a notebook. So I have a ton because I'm insane, but you don't need as many. You can get just the one, and write down in your mother tongue or in English or whatever. Write down all the expressions that you're gonna need. Just think a little bit. For example, let's just see. I have stuff like, well, hello, thank you, how much, yes, no, goodbye, I want, what's your name? My name is, no problem, let's go, do you have, where is, cigarettes, water, how are you, I'm good, friend. So words like that, when you come to think of it, you use a lot of them every day. You could add stuff like, bus, beer, taxi, I don't know, supermarket, like stuff that you're gonna need every day. And also don't forget to ask, to write down the expression, what is the name for this? Or like, how do you say this in Spanish? Or like something along those lines. So you can point at stuff and keep learning as you travel, just keep kind of, that list will grow as you travel because you're going to be a bit curious and ask people like, how do you say this? So once you have this list in English or whatever language you speak, ask a local person to help you translate. So someone who speaks your languages or your language, help you translate these expressions the way they're said locally. So especially for languages that have dialects, I think it's useful at first to use the local way to say things because it's less confusing for you. It's just easier, and you're gonna be able to recognize what people are answering back at you easier as well. God, someone teach me English, please. So anyways, use the local way to say things. And you can find local people, before you travel online on like Facebook groups for expats, couch surfing app, Tandem, Hello Talk. I mean, there are plenty of places where you can find people who can help you. Or you can find them like kind of in the country already. For example, my my Hebrew page, I kind of translated it. Well, I asked someone to translate for me on the plane. Like the poor guy was just trying to sleep during the flight, and I was like, "So how do you say?" Because I was hitchhiking in Israel, and so so how do you say, "Are you going to Tel Aviv?" And I was like writing everything down. And so you want to write down what these people, local people, are going to tell you phonetically. So it doesn't really matter the spelling at first because you're going to be speaking to people more than writing to them. And if you need to communicate by writing, you can always do like an audio message. And so I write things down phonetically. So for Spanish, for example, it's not that hard because it's spelled as it's pronounced. But for French, for Arabic, or all the other languages that have a different writing system, I really recommend writing stuff phonetically so that you will be able to pronounce it later on when you're not with the local person. So my Arabic pages, the first few ones that I had, it's really weird because now that I know how it's spelled in Arabic, it makes zero sense, but at least I was able to pronounce it well enough that I was understood. So once you have all of this in the local language, you're going to take your notebook with you everywhere. So this one, for example, that I had in Jordan and Brazil, like it's just completely full now. and I had it with me everywhere. And I was the most annoying person because I would be like talking to people and I would stop in the middle of my sentence to go and find the words that I did not remember. And that's fine. You know, it's okay. You're going to be a little bit, you're going to feel a bit annoying for a few days, but then you're going to remember, and you really want to practice them as soon as you get the opportunity. And so even if it's kind of placing the few words that you know in between English or French or whatever, do it. And another tip that I can give you is to color code, if you can, the vocabulary that you wrote down. So for example, if you see, I have the adjectives in yellow, the nouns in pink, the verbs in green, and the adverbs and expressions in blue. And that really, really helps me so I could find the vocabulary faster. And then I would just go around and practice using it with people and say, you know, basic things like, what's your name? Or like, where are you from? Like, how old are you? Like basic stuff. And that's how I got started. And then because I had this sentence of what is the name for this? Or, you know, how do you say this in Arabic or in Spanish or whatever? I could kind of grow my list as I traveled, and I would be very curious. And I would, once I mastered these few expressions, I would learn more and more and more, and just keep asking people. You always find someone who speaks a bit of English, otherwise you would not be able to travel here without speaking the language. But so you always find someone who can give you a few more words, you know, and I would just add them to the list. All of that without worrying about the grammar, the conjugation, none of that. It doesn't matter if you don't conjugate your verbs, for example, you know, like if you say in Spanish, I don't know, yo estar muy feliz, you say like, I to be very happy. It's not correct, but people understand you and they're going to start correcting you. You're going to slowly pick it up, and that's okay. As long as you make yourself understood and you understand when people talk to you like as well, that's the main thing to get started. So it's a bit different than if you were to study this at home and plan on studying it for like a year or something. It's a bit different. Here you want to go for convey meaning, and you know, how whatever it takes, make yourself understood. And also on the more kind of cheesy pep talk level, don't be afraid to make mistakes. You know, I think that literally, I'm going to make a video about this because I think it's so interesting. I've met so many people from everywhere recently. Literally every single nationality, like every single group of people was like, oh my God, like we German people, we're so bad at languages. And then I met French people and they were like, oh my God, we're so bad at languages. Americans, the same, Japanese, Indian, people from all over the world were saying the exact same thing, that their nationality was the worst at languages. And that's why they're so like self-conscious when they travel and they try to speak other languages. So if everyone feels like that, then no one actually is the worst. You know, like this is all in our heads. And I think a very important thing, and I've mentioned that in so many of my videos, is to really, you know, realize that what you're doing, learning another language, is a really cool thing. You know, a lot of people don't bother. Of course, I know I'm saying this from a place of privilege because, you know, us traveling to different countries and learning a local language is a thing that we get to do for fun, kind of. You know, other people unfortunately don't have a choice. But still, I think there's still so many people traveling and expecting everyone to speak their language and making an effort for them while they don't make an effort for people, that I think you making that effort is a cool thing. And so if you make mistakes, who cares? You know, you're learning a language. That's a really cool thing to do in life. And so, you know, no one is going to make fun of you. Like, you think for a second, if someone comes to my country and they're trying to speak, so French in my case, am I going to make fun of them for, you know, confusing a verb with another one or like mispronouncing something? Absolutely not. And I'm pretty sure any of you watching this would never make fun of someone for mispronouncing something or, you know, not conjugating verbs properly, like, you know. So remember that no one is going to make fun of you. If they do, it's because you're saying something that means something else and it's a bit funny. And once you understand what you actually said, you're also going to laugh with them. So, you know, it's not the end of the world, but no one is going to judge you. I promise you. So yeah, that's it for all the advice. Get yourself a notebook, get out. Oh no, sorry, I have one more piece of advice. Sorry. Make sure you get time on your own. So I've seen that a lot with people who travel in groups or even in couples or like duos. Because you're with people who speak your language all the time, you don't really expose yourself to the local language as much. And so I think that having half an hour a day for, you go to the supermarket or you go to the tacos place, or like just going out on your own for half an hour and just chatting with people in the restaurant, in a cafe, or wherever, in the market, exposing yourself on your own first takes away I know it's a bit awkward when you're trying to speak your language in front of someone from your family, in front of a friend. It's a bit weird. So it takes away that thing. And also it takes away the thing of where you're chatting in English or your mother tongue with someone, from your country or whatever. And you don't connect as easily with local people. So I think that it's really good. And I've seen also people travel in groups where there's one person who speaks Spanish fluently, and so the others are kind of like not getting the opportunity to try. Because that's the thing, when you're in a situation where you have to communicate what you need or what you would like to do, if someone else kind of comes in and says it perfectly in the local language, then you're not really forced, you don't really have to say it. So I think putting yourself in that situation where you have to communicate and you have to make yourself understood is really, really vital. So I think now that's it for my advice. If you have any questions, if you need any kind of resources for, the language that you're learning or the countries you're visiting, please message me, because I've been like compiling a ton of language resources over the years, because I'm planning on learning every single freaking language on the planet. So, whether it's a language I speak or not, I'll probably have some stuff to share with you. And if not, I'll just send you to other people who know more about those languages. So yeah, feel free to message and also share with me your progress in Spanish or whatever language, because I'd love to hear about it. All right, that's it for today. Bye, everyone.